Why we should have done music. What's up? What's up? My name is Ethan. I'm the National Ambassador for the International OCD Foundation. It is 1 million steps for OCD virtual walk day. There's so many things going on today. As always, we want to welcome you, let you come inside, say hello, let us know where you're coming from. Let's see here. We have Jilly. Hi, Jelly in Florida. Valerie, how are you, Val? We have Kenzie. Let's see, we have the Diviner Miss, and it cuts it off, the Diviner Miss M in Sacramento. We have Kenzie in Virginia, James in North Carolina. Jelly, of course, is in Florida. Alex in Brookline. Hello? Test, test. Can you guys hear me now? I see equalizer going. Yes. Okay, perfect. I am so sorry. Minor technical difficulties. If you heard nothing I said before, you are probably saved lots of corny jokes. But hello, hello. I will give shout outs, but welcome to the 2020 virtual OCD walk, 1 million steps for OCD. My name is Ethan. I am your national ambassador for the International OCD Foundation, which, as you know, all that means is I have OCD and I like to talk about it way too much, but it's appropriate. So hello, everybody. I hope you're doing awesome tonight, today, this afternoon, this morning, if you're on the Pacific coast of the West Pacific coast. If you're on the East Coast, 12:05 p.m. on this Saturday, you should be able to hear me fine now. Apologies for the technical difficulties. Hope everyone is having a wonderful morning or early afternoon. Lots to get to today. Normally I would banter and really just say things that are questionably funny. But we will get into it right away. So first of all, I want to welcome you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing up. I hope you're wearing your virtual 1 million steps OCD walk, embracing the uncertainty one step at a time shirts. We're ready to get out and raise some awareness for OCD. So thank you, thank you. Hello, Joanne. Hello, David. Hello, Mackenzie. Hello, Thomas. Hello, Eng. Hello, Brett, Shelley, Michelle. Great to see so many folks here. Let's dial in. We have really exciting programming, and then we want to get out and walking. Hello, Leaf. Good to see you, buddy. So first off, of course, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. This is our 8th annual walk, and this is, of course, our first virtual walk, a year of many firsts, our first online conference, our first online multiple conferences, and now our first virtual walk. So thank you for joining us. It's worth a mention that today is also World Mental Health Day. It's an international day for global mental health education, awareness, advocacy against social stigma. It was first celebrated in 1992 at the initiative of the World Federation for Mental Health, a global mental health organization with members and contacts in more than 150 countries. And so there's lots of mental health advocacy going on right now, which is very, very, very exciting. So walk details. Here we go. Number of walkers as of when we just went live. We currently have a participation number of 1,862 walkers, which is absolutely incredible. So thank you from the IOCDF. We have walkers in 46 states and 14 countries, which is really exciting. So there'll be all of us all over the country and the globe getting outside, raising awareness for OCD, educating, reducing stigma, and hopefully creating a better tomorrow for those of us that suffer and our families and loved ones. As always, I want to encourage you to take, as always, but this is the first time, but as always, take photos of yourself in your walk t-shirts, getting ready for the walk, take videos. Let us know you're out there. You can post on social media. You can tag it IOCDF, at IOCDF. give us a tag. We'll be posting all over the place. We'll retweet, we'll re-Instagram, we'll re-Insta story, we'll repost on Facebook. So definitely get your cameras out. Let us see you out there walking. Let the world know what you're doing today, because it's for a great cause and a lot of people will be benefited from it. With that, if you've always wondered, why do we walk? We walk to raise awareness. We walk to reduce stigma. We walk to raise money, but there was a beginning. There's a reason for why we walk initially. So with that, I want to introduce to you an IOCDF board member, an incredible inspiration, just in general, but for the 1 million steps for OCD walk, and a really good friend of mine. He's one of my favorite people with the IOCDF, Dennis Asalin. Hi, Dennis.
Welcome to our first virtual OCD walk. Definitely not our usual venue, but as my good friend Hugh Chronister used to say, welcome the limitations. My name is Walking Dennis. I'm the guy who in 2012 walked 525 miles from Philadelphia to Boston in memory of our son, Nathaniel. Nan died at the age of 24, and that's way too young. And after suffering 13 years from body dysmorphic disorder, BDD, it's an OCD-related illness. What a tragic loss for me, for family, for friends, and I'd like to think for the world. But blessings on us to do something about it. First of all, we all showed up. Bravo. Pat yourself on the back. We joined a walking team. We fundraised. We contributed dollars and time. And now what we want to do is to walk for these disorders, and let's celebrate our good choices and do the right thing. So people often ask me, on your pilgrimage in 2012, what did you learn? Well, I learned quite a few things. I learned to move forward. You do it one step at a time, and eventually I got there. It took me 6 weeks to cover 525 miles, but I crossed the IOCD finish line in Boston with my head up high, and I did not crawl over it. I learned to explain to folks I encountered on the way what I was doing and why I was doing it. That was my mission. People listen carefully, people listen respectfully, and we just need to talk honestly about these mental health issues and brain disorders like BDD and OCD. And I also learned that we have to listen carefully to others' stories. I learned not to give up, even when the going got hard, and it often did. Yes, the blisters of day-to-day walking are painful and they're difficult to heal, but they do. I need to share them. I told stories. Stories were important to me. There was always a temptation along the way to hitchhike and in public transportation, but gladly I did not succumb. So back to those stories I listened to. All people along the way, we all carry stories about mental health issues in our own lives, but maybe also in the lives of people we love or close to us. We need to share them openly. We need to communicate them honestly, because what I have experienced is that the stories can heal us, and they definitely build a stronger community in the telling. I learned to trust Nathaniel in the universe. It was his spirit that really guided me. He was there, and he was my compass. He was my North Star. He encouraged me often when cars would just rush by me, and on rainy days, they would splash me. I was totally wet, and they seemed to be indifferent to the aches and pains emotionally and psychologically and physically I was feeling. I was a strange man walking with a backpack and a stick. Do not, I repeat, do not stop to pick him up. And I learned to trust the math, especially addition. 525 miles equals 2,000 steps, 30 to 40,000 steps per day, many, many steps during the week. And eventually it went over 1 million steps for OCD by my Boston destination. Sound familiar? 62 friends joined me at the various points when I was walking. 25 provided meals and or a place for me to stay. I met with over 145 professionals in clinics and hospitals and over 250 people while walking. We talked about BDD, we talked about OCD, and we talked about mental health. And 267 people signed my pilgrim's passport. This is the main one, but there are addendum pages. So friends, that's how this annual OCD walk began. Our son, Nathaniel, is the inspiration. And for Judy, my wife, for Carrie, my daughter, and Daniel, her partner, family and friends, and me, Nan's life matters in this way. Look what he started. Not an implosion, not a contraction, but a powerful explosion of courage and grace for all. So that's why we're here today, friends. And that's why we want to walk boldly. We want to walk joyfully. And we do not want to hold back in our advocacy. So I'm wearing my Walking with Nathaniel hat. I'm holding Nan's bear, Big. I'm wearing, just like Ethan, my 2020 virtual walk shirt, and I'm ready to step out and I'm ready to move forward. I hope you are too. Let me end, friends, with a greeting that the pilgrims exchange with one another on the Camino in Spain, my original inspiration. They say, Buen Camino, very loosely translated, means good track, good journey, good walk. And even more loosely translated, it means good advocacy, good community, and a damn good cause. So thank you and Buen Camino, friends.
Dennis, thank you for your inspirational, kind, sincere, beautiful words. We definitely walk for Nathaniel today, as everyone else, and just you're the epitome of turning pain into purpose. And as Liz always says, and you have been a dear, kind friend to me and the IOCDF community. You're always a face, a warm, kind face, you and your family, that I always enjoy seeing and catching up with at the conference. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you for sharing your story with everyone. Most probably didn't know about that. And we are definitely here in your and families and Nathaniel's honor to continue to commemorate, memorialize him and what he stood for, what your family stands for, and what we all try to achieve during this time. So Dennis, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ethan.
I'm a little moved, so I'm gonna gather myself, but Dennis and his family are really amazing. I encourage you, actually, if the next conference in New York, if you haven't met them, I encourage you to walk up and say hello. They're amazing people, very dear, good people. So next up, we have some awards to give out. So this is very exciting. We give out various awards for hitting various milestones in this walk. So I was trying not to cry. So just give me a second. I may not be as energetic, but I'll get right back with you. So first off, we have the most money raised by an individual. Most money raised by an individual. And the winner of that is Scott Sokolow. In New York, I think he's out of New York, raised $15,042. I saw Scott posting comments earlier. So a massive, massive congratulations to Scott. Scott, you will be winning an IOCDF hoodie, which are awesome. I actually just got mine. They're really comfortable. So if we could all give Scott a virtual round of applause. Congratulations, Scott. Next, we have the most money raised by a fundraising team. Most money raised by a fundraising team, and the winner is OCD New York, one of our affiliate teams. They raised $15,278. So again, a virtual applause to OCD New York. Every member of Team OCD New York will be winning an Embracing Uncertainty shirt, every one of you. So congratulations to you. Also, they couldn't be with us, unfortunately, but they sent us something to read. I will read that now. So, quote, "We at OCD New York walk to educate, empower, and raise awareness about OCD in our state. We also walk to honor the legacy of Nathaniel Asalin and his loving family." So thank you so much, OCD New York, for that. Last but not least, we have fundraising team with the most members. Fundraising team with the most members. And the winner is Verizon Advance, advocates for disability, accessibility, neurodiversity, and caregiver empowerment. They had 36 members, and we actually have Jean coming live to us from a beautiful location to just speak a little bit on behalf of Verizon Advance. Hi, Jean.
Hi, Ethan. Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. I am so happy and proud to be here. I couldn't be prouder of this team. We are an employee resource group at Verizon, and we're lucky enough to work for a company that encourages volunteerism, that's going to match our funds. I don't know that we'll get close to that other team, but we're going to try. And we're walking today because this fits right in with our mission. We're trying to raise awareness. We're trying to reduce stigma. We're trying to decrease ableism. And I just want to give a quick shout out to my friend and colleague, Felice Becker, for introducing me to you guys and getting this started for our ERG. And I hope that we can partner with this foundation and do great things for years to come. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Jean. We're excited to have you as a partner, you and your team. No, I know I wasn't expecting that to happen. I was off camera. So, but thank you. It is an honor and a privilege to have you guys on board, and we look forward to all our future collaborations.
Yes.
Have fun at the beach.
Thank you. Woo-hoo.
Bye, Jean.
Bye.
So that was Jean with Verizon Advance. We want to thank them for their partnership and participation in our virtual walk today, as well as fundraising. So thank you, Jean and Verizon Advance, as well as to thank you to OCD New York and Scott for your continued service, along with everyone that's on here today and walking. So as of right now, this may have gone up because this was as of when I went live. For a total number, we have raised, are you ready? The goal was 150,000. We have currently raised $166,611. $166,611. I think we should another virtual round of applause for everyone that's contributed to that number. There it is right there. All funds go toward national and local programs put on by our affiliates. And as a reminder, walking fundraising will remain open through the month of October. So after you walk, make sure to share your photos with family and friends and keep the momentum going. We will keep on. You know, I was actually talking to my mother actually this morning and saying that this is OCD Awareness Week. But for those of us that are advocates, and we know, and those of us that are just discovering advocacy and OCD and the IOCDF, you know, it's Awareness Day every day. We live to educate and to reduce stigma and turn our pain into our purpose. But I love that this is a great opportunity and a week to all come together to do it together. So it's very, very exciting. With that, I want to thank some of our sponsors, but please stick around, because after that, we'll be having a candid conversation with our Grand Marshal, Marc Summers, who is a fantastic guy, a great advocate and a great friend of the IOCDF. I've gotten to know him over the last couple of years, and I can't wait to talk to him a little bit. Also, if you have questions for him, we'll be taking a few audience questions as well. But with that, first, I would like to thank our national sponsor, Rogers Behavioral Health. And with that, we have a message from Rogers.
Hello, I'm Dr. Brad Riemann. I'm the Chief Clinical Officer at Rogers Behavioral Health. Here at Rogers, we have a long history of providing evidence-based treatment for OCD and partnering with the International OCD Foundation. This year, we're proud national sponsors of the virtual 1 Million Steps for OCD Walk. This is a very important event, raises public awareness about OCD and its treatment, and fights the stigma associated with it. We would like to thank all of you for supporting this event, and we hope you enjoy your walk.
So thank you, Brad and Rogers Behavioral Health. We also want to thank our gold sponsors, Massachusetts General Hospital, OCD and Related Disorders Program, McLean Hospital, and NOCD. So thank you to Rogers, MGH, NOCD, and McLean for your generosity. We greatly, greatly appreciate you. All right, now is the moment we've been waiting for. He needs no introduction, also because I didn't write one, but we'll get right into it. Please welcome our Grand Marshal for the day. You know him from TV, you know him from advocacy, you know him from Double Dare, Food Network, HGT, all the stuff. You know all him. Please welcome Marc Summers.
How are you, sir?
How, Marc? Good to see you.
That pillow over your shoulder, could you just straighten it up a little bit and fluff it up for me? I'd appreciate it.
I'm just going to move my head. And then it's made. It's made. How are we this morning?
You know, I'm doing okay. I got up, I took a shower. I have COVID hair, unfortunately. I'm not getting my hair cut as much for all the obvious reasons, so I apologize for that. It kind of looks like there's a gray raccoon sitting on my head, but other than that, I'm fine.
I wonder what that means for me, since my hair is the same length as yours and I got a haircut. So who knows? You know, we first met, you won the Illumination Award. I think it was in 2018. You were so gracious to come and join us. You spent the weekend at the conference. But what was really moving was your speech, and we got to learn a little bit more about you and your journey. When did you first notice OCD? When did it start to disrupt your life a little bit?
When I was a kid, 5 or 6 years old, I noticed that there were these strange things happening in my life, and I couldn't kind of put it together. Now, keep in mind, I sound like Trump here. I apologize. I have parents who have obsessive compulsive disorder, both my mother and father, and their parents had it. So it is passed down the gene line. And so what I was doing was strange, and yet it fit into the normalcy of my house. And it freaked me out because I didn't like the feeling, especially the intrusive thoughts. And the first intrusive thoughts I remember is my dad owned a supermarket back in Indianapolis where I grew up. And if he was 2, 3, 4 minutes late at night, I just assumed that something I did during the day probably killed him. And so I would try and, quote, be good all the time so nothing would happen with my father. And I couldn't put all that together in my mind, and it was taking so much of my time. And as I got older, especially in the high school, when my grades started to plummet because I used to have to read paragraphs over and over and over and over again, and my testing just went in the toilet, I knew there was something terribly wrong. But I was afraid to talk about it because I thought I was crazy, and I thought if I said anything, they would put me away in a loony bin, and so I just kept my mouth shut and suffered.
Which was that late 70s, early 80s?
Let's see. That was actually I graduated from high school in 1970, so that was from 1951 when I was born until the 70s. I was dealing with that, and then I went to college, and I had trouble with roommates. Needless to say, and of course the roommates I got couldn't have been sloppier. So when we would get the sheets would come on Thursday night to change the sheets and the towels, and I used to throw my roommates out, and I would clean the entire room and change the sheets and do the towels because I didn't like the way that person did it. And so eventually I went to the head of housing and said, I can't do this, and was able to talk my way into a single. So all these things kept accumulating, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And I was hosting a talk show on Lifetime called Biggers and Summers. Sissy Biggers and I hosted the show, and I was the only man on Lifetime because back in the day it was Lifetime television for women. And we hosted this talk show live every day from 11 to 12. And we would get the research the night before, and I got this packet talking about obsessive compulsive disorder, and I didn't really know what it was. And Eric Hollander was coming on to speak and discuss it. He and Marianne Hartley, as a matter of fact. And when I was reading the material in my apartment the night before, I went, oh my God, I do this, I do this, I do this. And I thought, oh my God, this crazy stuff I've been doing has a name. So the next day, I go to the studio really early to meet with a doctor to say, I think I have this. And he said, why do you think you have it? And I gave him several, little things in my head. And he said, hold it, let's talk about it on the show. So I had to make a decision. We were live every day. Do I pretend I don't have this and ignore it, or do I just come out and spill my guts? And I chose, for whatever reason, to just sort of let the world know what was going on. And that opened up many balls of worms. Next thing I know, I'm getting calls from The Tonight Show. I'm on Oprah. I'm on People Magazine, discussing something that back in 1999 nobody really discussed much, and it changed my life in many ways. Some for the good, some for the bad initially, but the best thing that happened was that I got the word out. And to this day, let's see, I was on Howard Stern talking about it. I was on with the Today Show talking about it, Oprah. And people come up to me and say, I never knew what I had until I saw you on this show or read that article. And it saved my life. And so when people say to me, what's the best thing you've done in your entire life? I've been lucky enough to have a good career in television with Double Dare and all the Food Network stuff. But the best thing that ever happened was the fact that I went out and talked about it and was able to help other human beings.
It's powerful, and you definitely, were one of the first to come out. And I mean, for lack of a better word, I always feel like you kind of took a bullet for the rest of us, but paved a path at the same time. I think those of us, it's still scary to come out, but I think it's a lot more destigmatized than it used to be. We have a lot more work to do, but at the same time, I feel like I've been greeted with a lot of support and love, and I think that's all due to the path that you carved along with other people as well. So thank you for that. And I also can't imagine, coming from a place of advocacy when you're better, I can't imagine I didn't know that, you being literally unofficially diagnosed and 5 minutes later announcing it on national television. That's a step. I mean, that's a crazy step.
Yeah, my parents called as soon as the show was over and said, what the hell did you just do? Why did you talk about that? And we're not that way. I talked about my parents, we used to have a lady come and clean the house every couple of weeks, and my dad's closet was perfect. And if his shoes were moved, an eighth of an inch, he knew it. And, the lady would try to clean, and he would go nuts when he'd come home because the shoes were, just a little bit off. And I remember going to my grandmother's house in Toledo, Ohio, where she was, she would sweep the streets. It's just so weird how this has been passed down. Somehow my brother didn't get it. My sister and I got it. But I paid a price. Career-wise, all of a sudden I was labeled as being crazy and difficult to work with. And that rumor, hurt me. I didn't work for almost 2 years after I made this exposure. And I became an advocate for a medication I was on at the time. And I would go to various cities and discuss with people how to help themselves. And I always compared it, I've never done drugs and I don't drink, but I always looked at it like if you were an alcoholic or you were a drug addict, until you're really ready to get better, chances are you're not going to. And when I was in my first behavior therapy class, back in the early 2000s, we would go around the room and discuss what the week was like. And we had this one guy who used to make me laugh. He was a phlebotomist, but he had OCD and was scared of blood and wanted to become a doctor. He used to make me laugh. I said, hey, man, why don't you just change your profession, But the problem with going to the groups for me was it was a lot of people just bitching and complaining, but nobody ever really wanted to get better. And I finally stood up one day and said, look, I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick of this in my life. So if you don't want to get better, I need to get the hell out of here. And I actually left because talking about it and whining about it doesn't get you anywhere. It's a bitch to move forward. And, I always say I'm 82% cured. I'm never 100% cured, but I'm lifetimes better than I was before I got help. And I think, baby steps are important. And unless you're willing to take those baby steps to get to the higher step, you're going to be miserable your whole life. And there's no reason because there's so much help out there. I heard Dennis's story, talking about getting choked up.
Yeah,
and hearing about Nathaniel. Holy cow. I mean, thank you, Dennis, for doing what you're doing. And we need to get the word out there. And, like everything else, we're not nuts. It's it's a deficiency, serotonin not getting from point A to point B. We were born that way, nothing we can do about it, but now there's help. And even if I was, 10 or 11 years old and went to somebody back then, there was nothing anybody could have done.
Yeah.
So the advancement that's happened in this field has been magnificent.
I'm actually going to ask, so many people are asking some great questions for you, and I want to get to them because I'd love for you to answer them. I have one question for you specifically, which was from that moment that you came out on Lifetime, you started getting calls and interviews and things like that. You could have stayed quiet. You could have come out that once and then backed off and sort of dealt with this on your own. What was the conscious decision? You really chose the greater good, as our friend Jeff Bell says, over yourself. What was that thought process of I have to go out and I have to do this, even though I don't even necessarily understand it myself?
I was so miserable, and I figured if I could help one person, and you know, like once again, I've been lucky doing what I'm doing. But unless you can pay it forward, and the good fortune that I've had has opened up doors for this awareness. And I think we need to get the word out. You know, like Howie Mandel, I've tried to get him to participate and help. For whatever reason, he hasn't chosen to do it yet. I know him quite well. I've known him for years. He was my neighbor, and just the nicest man in the world. And I wish he would open up just a tad more and work with us. But I understand it. You know, there's so much going on in everybody's lives. But for those of us who have it, and if you have any sort of notoriety and can use your so-called fame to get the word out to assist others, because it's miserable. And as long as we keep it in the closet and can't move forward, nobody's going to get better. And the whole point is for these walks and our conferences is to move to the next step and improve our lives.
Thank you, Mark, for that. And I think I can thank you on behalf of not only ICDF, but everybody's who's watching. I know you're getting lots of love and compliments. Let's turn to some questions. Amy Severson at 12:25 p.m. asked specifically, how did OCD impact your TV appearances? Of course, the first thing that comes to mind is you didn't like messes, and you were the host of Double Dare, you know, ostensibly the messiest show on TV at that time. What was it like?
Well, you know, the old line about God works in mysterious ways. You know, I was just trying to be a host, and I was 33 years old and been out in Hollywood since I was about 21, 22, and things just weren't working out for me. And so when I finally got this audition, I didn't even realize what the show was because we auditioned and did some unmessy physical challenges. And after getting the job, they flew me to Philadelphia where we first started shooting. And I walked in and there was a guy pouring chocolate syrup on a slide and they were putting whipped cream and ice cream everywhere. And I said, what the hell's going on here? And they said, well, this is the obstacle course. And I said, what is that? And they said, well, after somebody wins, they have to run 8 obstacles in 60 seconds or less and get really messy. And I said, do you really think kids would like to do that? And the answer was obviously yes. So if you watch the first 65 episodes, I never got anything on me. In fact, it was prior to tennis shoes. I was wearing penny loafers and I was dodging the mess. And so all the kids were slopped up and I was, you know, staying away. And so the show exploded and they went to focus groups and the kids said, we love the show, we love Mark, but we want him to get messy. So Nickelodeon management pulled me into a room and said, you're doing great. We're picking you up for another 65, but one thing, you need to get messy. And I said, why? And they said, well, because the kids want it and that's what you need to do. So, you know, you wait your whole life to get this job. I wasn't going to walk away. So talk about mind over matter. I was going to go out there and have the best time I did. And by the way, you know, people say I hated it. No, I had the best time of my life. I loved every moment of it. I defy you to find me being miserable. But when the camera went off and I was dripping with all that goo, I ran to the showers and took a shower. Took off. And the one thing Nickelodeon used to get upset was when we go to black, as they say, when the show was over with. And I would start undressing in front of the kids. I would take my tie off and I'd take my jacket off. And they'd say, can't you do that in the dressing room? I'd say, no, I got to get this stuff off of me, you know. So that was the little hidden secret back in the day. But I got through it. And you know, that's the other thing. If you wish for something your entire life and it finally happens, a little green slime and chocolate syrup is not going to damper, you know, what my goals were. And thankfully, I gave a generation to show that they still love to this day. And I was able to help myself and help others down the road.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you. I'll read, this isn't a question, but Josh Spitalnik, a good friend of ours, says, Mark, thank you for using your public platform to bring more awareness to what OCD is and how important it is to talk about openly. The OCD community is grateful. The diviner Miss M at 12:29 p.m. asks, what is the compulsion that was the most difficult for you to overcome and how did you do it?
Well, I suppose when I was doing the talk show in New York, and we only worked an hour a day, and they didn't want me in the office because I was trying to, you know, I like to be in charge. And finally, the exec producer pulled me aside, said, you know, you really can't be here all day because my job is to produce this show. So we'll send you the information, come in an hour or two before, do the show, and then get the hell out of here. And so I would have my entire day in New York City to myself. And I would go by windows at Tiffany's or Macy's or whatever, and there would be signs. And I would have to read those signs over and over and over again, telling myself that if I didn't read them over and over again, My son wouldn't get on the soccer team. My daughter wouldn't get the part she was auditioning for in the school play. The next plane I took back to Los Angeles, I was bicoastal at the time, was going to crash. So those constant intrusive thoughts, and I'm going to say, I'm going to be brutally honest here, even to this day, going to supermarkets on a bad day, I can get stuck in an aisle. And so I always prefer that my wife go grocery shopping. But if I do, I make a list and I sort of map out where all the items are, and I can get in and out of a market in about 10 or 12 minutes. Because if I'm wandering, I can get stuck on an aisle reading a can. So that's still the one thing that kind of drives me nuts, not like it used to, and the intrusive thoughts really aren't there because of the help that I got. But that was probably the worst one.
Thank you, Mark. And that actually answers Nancy's question, Mark. What are your current challenges with OCD? I mean, that's a great example of one. We've got time for one more question. Let's see here. Melissa Honeycutt at 12:33 p.m. asked, what was the #1 therapy that helped your intrusive thoughts the most?
Well, Dr. Hollander was the one who grabbed the bull by the horns. And I guess it was the exposure Dateline from NBC, and you can go online and look at this whole thing, decided they were going to follow me for about a year. And, you know, the mission was, I never wanted anybody in my house. Everything in the house was perfect. And the goal with Dr. Hollander and Sarah James at NBC was to put me in an awkward situation to see if I could deal with it. So after working with Dr. Hollander for a period of time, the NBC crew came to my beautiful house in Chatsworth, California. We were in Chatsworth. We were in where were we? Calabasas, and they made me leave. And they said, "We'll call you when we're ready. When we're ready." And I had no idea what they're going to do. And 3 hours later, the phone rang. They said, "You can come back." And I walked in my house, and they turned it into a TV studio. The furniture was moved. The couches were moved. Everything was disrupted. The curtains were perfect. The pillows were perfect. Everything was symmetrically. And I walked in, and at first my knees buckled. And I thought, oh my, all I could think of was, how in the hell am I going to put this back the way it was? And will it ever be perfect? And so the therapy that I got from Dr. Hollander was what got me from point A to point B. We used to have the house cleaned by a woman, and when she would leave, I would start re-cleaning the house. And so the first time he said, "Can you wait 5 minutes?" And I went, "Yes." He said, "Can you wait 10 minutes?" And I said, "No." So each week I had extended. I went from 5 minutes to 10 minutes to, you know, a day to I couldn't do it anymore. And it was that kind of therapy and retraining my brain that got me to where I am today. And it really, really, really worked.
Yeah, exposure response prevention is the gold standard of treatment. It's 75% effective, and actually, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but OCD is, you know, one of the best therapies for mental health. So in a way, we're fortunate in that we have a therapy that really, really works. It's difficult. It's hard to face your fears every day and get super uncomfortable. Mark, I want to thank you so much for joining us. Any last words? Any last message you want everybody to know out there?
Yeah. Please, please, please try and get better. Find somebody you can speak to. You know, we're all here. Needless to say, the OC Foundation is amazing. I've been a part of it for a long, long, long time. There's a lot of help online. Don't suffer. You don't need to suffer. We're all here to help you. And when you can turn it around and even get 50% better, 30% better, your life will change dramatically for you and for your entire family, because it is a family disease. And I just wish you all the best, and thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to working with everybody a lot more in the near future.
I know everyone appreciated you. Thank you so much. Marc Summers, everyone. Thank you so much, Mark. I'll see you soon. All right. I think we have golf next weekend. That's a joke. All right. So Mark is amazing. Thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. If you didn't get your question answered, you can always email us and we can try to get it to Mark and get you an emailed answer. But regardless, as always, thank you, Mark, for your time and generosity. We're very grateful for you. Now, we have another special guest. You know him as last year's Hero Award winner. He's a dear friend of the IOCDF. He's an amazing advocate, and he's inspired me. I had him on Just Ethan a while ago. Please, please welcome Tommy Smalley to take us through some stretching to get us ready to walk. Hey, Tommy.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. How are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
No, thank you for being here. All right. Well, clearly your expertise in the workout arena is probably better than mine, so I'm going to turn this over to you. And in fact, Fran, move me out of here. I'll stretch quietly behind the scenes.
Sounds good. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom Smalley. I've been an advocate for about 7 years now for the IOCDF. just want to say thank you to the IOCDF for keeping up with this event. It impacts so many lives, and it's just remarkable what we're able to do when we all come together. Outside of my advocacy, I'm actually a strength and conditioning coach, Tufts University. So I'm actually going to lead us through a quick stretch just to get us our bodies a little bit mobile before we start embarking on this walk. And here we go. All right. So I'm in my apartment, so bear with me here. So first thing we're going to do is sit like this. All right. We're going to bring this leg back, and we're going to bring this leg forward, right to our elbow. So our elbow should be on the inside of this leg. And then when you bring it forward, you're going to lean forward a little bit and feel the stretch in your hamstrings and your glutes. And then you're going to turn and rotate and look up at the sky. You're going to hold that for 10 seconds. And then you're going to do it with the other leg. Same thing. So I know I have a limited amount of time here, so we're going to go right into the next one. You can do as many rounds of this as you want. You're going to bring your feet as close as you can to your groin, and you're going to push down with your elbows. And you're just going to feel the stretch in your hip flexors. And you're just going to hold it there for 15 to 30 seconds. And the next one, you're going to find a wall. This is the easiest thing to do at home for the hamstrings. You find a wall. You're just going to put your butt as close as you can, and you're going to get your leg up on the wall. And you're just going to hold your leg there straight. And then you'll switch legs. Alrighty, everybody. Thanks for joining me. I hope you have a great walk. Be safe out there. Wear a mask, and keep spreading the word about mental health stigma and OCD. Together, we can really stop the stigma and educate so many different people on such a wide level. And the work that the IOCDF does is unmatched, and I'm really grateful for it.
Thank you so much, Tommy. Appreciate you, man.
Yep, no problem.
Take it easy. Thank you, Tommy Smalley. If you don't know Tommy's story, he's a remarkable advocate, and what he's been through as a young man is similar to Mark, but game changing. Feel free to give him a look on the IOCDF platform, blogs, articles, things like that. He's remarkable and a really dear friend of ours. So we're very grateful to everything that Tommy does for us. So thank you again, Tommy. With that, we are nearing the end. We're getting ready to take a walk. Just a few things. I want to remind everyone to go out and walk. You can go in the neighborhood, park, take photos, videos, post them online, hashtag OCD walk. The hashtag is OCD walk. And you can tag at IOCDF. So tag at IOCDF, hashtag OCD Walk. We're going to grab it. We're going to post it. We're going to share it. No distance is too short. No distance is too long. You know, a block, walk around the block, walk a mile, walk 5 miles, whatever you feel like doing. There's no every bit matters. And while you're out there, if people ask questions, what's the shirt about? What are you doing? Let them know why you're out there. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know why it's important to you. Remember that the fundraising will remain open until October 31st, Halloween. So help us reach our new goal of 200,000. We can do it October 31st. We can, in fact, reach our new goal as I just got an update in my ear. They wrote it. But we just got an update. The current new number is 167,187. We are well on our way. I think we can do 200,000 by the end of the month. Don't you? I think we can do it. Let's go for it. Let's do it. Again, all funds go towards the national and local programming from the IOCDF and our 20+ participating affiliates. Last but not least, guys, this week, tomorrow kicks off OCD Awareness Week. Remember to check out the event calendar at iocdf.org/OCD Week. Got all the programming there. That's some of the programming. I look quite good like this. What do you guys think? And I'm actually going to quickly read it for you so you know what that was. So tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific, join the amazingly talented Sean Shinnick and myself for a live Draw Your Monster. If you don't know Draw Your Monster, you'll want to tune in. You do not want to miss this. And if you do know Draw Your Monster, you'll still want to tune in. You don't want to miss this. Sean's going to take us through the whole reason why he does it, and then he's going to draw live for us, and we're going to draw a community monster where everybody can participate in creating a monster of themselves. So please, please, please join us tomorrow. Monday and Tuesday is Virtual Voices for Mental Health, an online day of action. Wednesday is a special edition of Live with Liz Mackingale, our dear friend, board member. She'll be interviewing the executive director at the IOCDF, Jeff Szymanski. So I don't know what they'll be talking about, but I have a feeling if anything you want to know about the IOCDF or Jeff's role, all the stuff, please, please, please tune into Live with Liz on Wednesday. Check the calendar for times. On Thursday, we have a double feature action-packed evening starting with 7 p.m. Fran and I will be hosting trivia. It's going to be a good one. There's going to be some good prizes. The questions won't be easy, so bring your thinking caps. We're very excited by that. Now, right after trivia, we are going to jump into the IOCDF Film Festival. We've got some great films lined up about OCD and mental illness, and followed by that is a Q&A with the directors and filmmakers from the actual films. Most, if not all, will all be there to answer questions and tell us about why they made the films. Most have OCD themselves or struggle with other mental health issues, and so we're really looking forward to hearing from them and seeing their films. And last but not least, there may be other, but last but not least, on Friday we have Just Ethan, which is my live stream, a Live with Liz crossover. Liz and I will come together. We'll be talking all things OCD, all things advocacy, but we also have some very, very exciting announcements. So Friday, you'll want to tune in. Not exactly sure of the time, but check the calendar. That's happening. Also, the OCD calendar has affiliate events as well. So you can get all your local, regional, and national information on that iocdf.org/OCD week. Check out the calendar. That's all I got. From me, thank you for all you do. Thank you for joining me this last year. This month marks 1 year anniversary of the live stream that I started, Just Ethan, with the IOCDF. It has been an honor to continue to be your national ambassador, to serve all of you in the community in the role that I do, and to continue to spread awareness, destigmatize, educate, all in an effort to change the optics around mental health issues, OCD, BDD, ASD, all the related disorders. It is an honor and privilege to be your advocate. I never take it for granted. I am grateful to all of you for all the emails, all the love, all the support. I'll get a little misty-eyed, but thank you. As I continue on my own journey, I always say I never imagined myself being here doing this. I am nothing without the community. So thank you for all of you. Now with that, we're stretched. We've talked. Let's get out there and walk. Be safe. Have an amazing, amazing time. Take pictures, take video. I love you guys. I look forward to seeing everything that you're doing today. Have an amazing time. God bless.